Dun 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 dun. Hello. Look at this little fella. It's like a frog, right? It's a frog, but it's also a musical instrument made out of wood. And you use this little stick here to control the sound of it. So, can you hear that? Sounds beautiful, right? And it actually sounds like a frog or a toad. I don't know. But yeah, use this and then beautiful sound. And then it changes depending of how you grab it. So if you really hold it, creates a little bit more like a lower tone. And then if I hold it just like this, a little bit higher. How are we doing? How are you doing? Okay, so let me check here on the live stream. We're going live. Let's wait a couple of minutes for people to arrive. Today is gonna be fun. Hopefully you like it, and we're gonna learn some cool stuff. And I think it's gonna go quick because I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna go quick. Today is gonna be different than yesterday because today we're actually going to be using vectors. Yesterday it was all pixels because it was in Photoshop and we were using a brush. But today we're going to be using vectores, which is pretty exciting if you are into illustration for a product, for the web. More and more, sometimes we want to use vectors for those kinds of illustrations and export them as SVGs. And then the web, if the browser supports it, then you don't lose any quality. That's pretty good, right? So let's wait a little bit. Once we reach 15 people, that's when we start. Yes. Oh, Joe Montero. Hola. Hola. All the way from New York, Joe. That's pretty cool. Everybody else, okay, we reached 15, so let's just start. But let's just start here on the chat. Tell us where you are watching from. Where are you visiting from? Also, say something cool in your language, in case it's not English, or even in English too. And just like the word and then the meaning, something, a beautiful word or a strange word from your language. Just share that. That will be pretty cool, right? And yeah, so today we're gonna have a cool lesson. I think it's gonna be dope, I tell you. We're gonna be using Illustrator, but before that, let me see that everything is okay here. We are at 15. Like I'm telling you, yeah. Hey, from Morocco. That's super cool. Wow. It's just like a wonderful technology, right? And we're all here together at the same time, and we're gonna learn together. I love that idea of the internet bringing us together in these times, in these weird times, right? So let's. Hola, ¿qué más, parcero? Saludando desde Colombia. It's from Colombia. It's in Spanish. That's great. Okay, cool. So let's start our lesson. Let me just move it here. Let me remove my glasses. Hi, these are my, and also maybe this little fella. And so let's do this. So there you go. So today's lesson is going to be about using art brushes to create characters, using art brushes in Illustrator. And I think I always wonder, like, does nobody use this? I've been using this for a long time, and I think and I shared it in other places, in other forums, but I hadn't seen anyone else doing it this way, just using art brushes for different elements of a person, just like the arms and the body and the legs. I'm going to show you, like, for example, this sketch that you're seeing there, well, that illustration, it's all made with brushes, just like the arms, the body, and the legs. They're all different brushes. And that's like, gives you a lot of flexibility, and it gives you, you can make illustrations like that really fast. So so hopefully you're gonna like it. And so a little bit more about this whole thing. So like, because of I don't know, like recently times have been a little bit weird, right? And we have been advised to stay at home and to avoid contact with other people. In some countries, it's a little bit harder. I was thinking maybe we can use this time to, if we're going to stay home, like learn together some sketching and practice our illustration and drawing and painting skills. So every day I'm going to try to hop on a live stream and try to do a doodle or something, a different lesson, okay? And we're gonna do it together. That's the cool thing about it, right? So, so let's go back to our lesson. Today's lesson is going to be using our brushes to create characters. And let me just jump to Illustrator. So, oh yeah, so today we're going to be using Illustrator. This feature is actually a really old feature, so you don't need to have the latest one. I don't know when art brushes were introduced, but I think a long time ago. So even if you have an old version of Illustrator, you should be good. Okay. Okay. So let me change this. There you go. Now you're seeing my screen, and this is Illustrator. And by the way, here below, let me see if I can move the camera so you can see it. I'm using a Cintiq, a Cintiq tablet, and this Cintiq tablet, I can draw on it. It's kind of like an iPad Pro, but it connects to my computer, and so I can use Illustrator, Photoshop, or whatever I want on it. And it's pretty cool because you see the screen while you're drawing, which makes the drawing experience a little bit more natural, unnatural. Uh, okay, so let's go back to our lesson. Here, let me show you this thing. This is already a starting point. And first, let me show you what we're going to create, and then we're going to actually do it. So as you can see here, I have different pieces that are all different pieces that form a character. So I have the head, different head. I have an arm, a leg, and the body. So all these are just like drawings, just like regular drawings. And then I turned them into a brush, and I was able to paint the character with this brush. So as you can see here, this is actually, if I press Command Y to see the actual, just the outlines, you're gonna see that it's actually just really quick, like lines. But the lines are turned into brushes because when I use brushes, then the line determines how the brush behaves and how it moves, and because it goes along the line. And it creates this. So let me show you the actual brushes. Here on the brushes panel, you see that I have different heads. I have different arms. Well, no, sorry. This is the body. This is the arm. This is the leg. This is another body and another leg. But yeah, so let's actually try it so you can see. Let me duplicate this little fella. This fella. And let me show you what happens. So, oops, sorry. Let me zoom out. And I just use the brush tool by pressing B. Let me erase this fella. And let's create a new one. By using the brush tool, I already have that brush selected because I just selected it. And I can just like really draw, and look, it just follows along. I could even do something like this. How cool is that, right? And because it's just using a brush, it follows your path and just like it keeps it keeps all the elements in place. And everything is vector too. So if I wanted to later expand it, like, so for example, I'm ready and I want to change some details about it, I can select it and then expand the appearance, and now everything is vector. So I can further edit it if I want to, make it a little bit bigger or something like that, or change the color of stuff. But yeah, that's a cool idea. So the idea is that everything here is actually just a brush, and I can just like really easily change it. I can, because since it's just a one single line that is vector, then I can actually like change it here and really further edit it. So because this is, again, this is just a line, I can even like the brush that has already been created, like get in there and actually perfect it a little bit more. Oops, I'm not very good with this. If you want, for example, a longer leg that is like doing something like this, then you can totally change it really easily. So let's zoom out. See? And the cool thing, another really cool thing about doing this is that you can swap the brushes. So for example, here I created the same character but just different expression. So I just duplicated this guy, and then I just like changed the duplicated this, and I just changed the expression, changed the eyes and the mouth, and now it's a different expression, and I turned that into a different brush. So I can change it. I can just swap it. So I can go here to the brushes panel, and this is the one that is selected, but I can just click on the other one and it gets swapped, and it follows the same direction, and it follows the same everything. How cool is that, right? Like I also created a different set over here. So I created a set of a different body, a different leg, with a really cool, like, I don't know, like hammer pants or something like that, and also a shirt that it has long sleeves. So let's actually change that. I could just like duplicate this fella, and change it here. So for example, I'm going to change the body of it. I'm going to go to the brushes panel, and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Let's use this body. Why didn't it change? Sorry, apparently I didn't have it selected. There you go. Now it's selected. It's changed to that. Let's select the arms, and we can change it to this other arm. Yeah, why is it not? It's not acting right away. There you go. And these are the hammer pants. They are part of that set. So let's change the hammer pants. There you go. There you go. Now, it doesn't fit exactly because apparently I did something different with the body. So, but you can just like really easily just like adapt it. Okay, it's a different brush, so I'm going to do something different here. And maybe this fella, this little node has to move a little bit different. So what I love about this technique is the simplicity of it, that you can easily try different things. You can easily just like start like creating a system that you can reuse, and just like play around with the different poses and everything super easily, I'm telling you. So okay, so let me just move it like this. There you go. It looks like here it's getting a little bit weird. So that's something that sometimes happens. So you just have to be a little bit more careful with your curves. So the curves are a little bit more not as sharp. And then you're going to be fine. So, okay. So this is how you can easily do this. As you can see here, these are the same component. But if I press Command Y, just another demo, these are just lines, just outlines, really, really basic stuff, right? Oops, sorry. Command Y. By the way, if you didn't know, Command Y does that. Another thing that I did is I also added a new head. And the head, I create a new brush from it, and then I can swap the head of it. It's not going to be perfect. I tried it before, and I think the head needs to be adjusted a little bit. It's kind of cool, right? So and this brush it changes with the size of it, so it adjusts like that. And maybe it has to be a little bit smaller. Yeah, there you go, something like that. Yeah, so that's that's how easy this is. How cool is that? How cool is that? I actually liked it with this one. Yeah, that's how it should be. But yeah, that's the idea behind this. You can create a system, really simple system, and then use it with brushes and just like go crazy with it and swap the brushes and just like create different characters really easily with different positions and different poses. So okay, that's the gist of it. Let's create one from scratch. But before we do that, let's check the chat. Okay, so let's go to the chat. And will you share the AI file later? Yeah, I can share the AI file. I'll put it in the description. Greetings, all from Washington. Okay, cool. So great. If you have questions, leave your questions on the chat. And if you have an answer, maybe you can answer that person in the chat too. You don't have to wait for me, right? Okay, so let's do this from scratch. And for that, let's create a new file. I'm just going to use common, whatever this is. And we're going to do different things. First, I'm going to turn this into white by pressing Command Shift H. Then it just like turns everything into just one single canvas without artboards. Another thing you could do is just like make the artboard super big. But I just like Command Shift H, and then that way I'm just not worrying about a canvas right now. I like doing that when I'm playing around with illustrations like this. If you zoom out, there you see. Let me just. I'm going to copy just to keep the same proportions. You know, just so we can keep the same proportions and actually use it as a different set later. Okay. So first of all, here my colors. My colors are. Let me actually just before anything, I just want to keep the same proportions. There you go. This is going to help me later to keep the same proportions so I can reuse it with the other file. Okay. Sorry for this. And I don't need this anymore. Okay, so now something that I always do when I start a new file is just remove all the colors except for black and white. I just select them, press shift to select, and I remove them. Goodbye colors. I don't need you because the default colors are not great. Maybe I should learn how to change those default colors. And then from here, you can actually select a new some default swatches, some default collections here. So one that I want is the one that is skin, I think it's called, or yeah, skin tones. And then it selects it has all these folders here, and then from the folders you can just like add one to your library. So I'm actually going to drag and drop this one. I'm going to put it here because I'm going to use it, and then I'm also going to create another library that I what do you think? Color boost, color properties. I think color properties. And no. Yeah, so saturated. Do I like this? Now let's actually create our own colors. What do you think? Yeah, let's create our own colors. So for that, you create one rectangle, and I'm going to just like go ahead and just start playing around with the color. So I'm going to go, and I want to have a red, a really bright red, not as saturated, not all the way to the top, but around here. And I'm going to add it here. I'm going to add it to my library. I'm going to turn it into global, and I'm going to use HSB because I prefer that model, the color mode. And there you go. I'm going to actually create my own, mine. I'm going to call it mine, my own folder, just to keep all my colors there. Now let's add another one. Let's add another one. Let's say a blue, a dark blue. You know, like a blue that's a little bit saturated and it's dark, and that way it's going to contrast really well with the red. It's going to create a really good combination. So now that I have that color, I press new, and I can just. By the way, if you want to, you can just like a dark blue, for example. If you want to, you can just like name your colors correctly. Keep it global, HSB. There you go. And cool. I'm liking it. And the cool thing is that I can change it later. What's going on here? Apparently, every time you create a new one here, it it creates it over here. So I have to suppose I have to have the folder selected. Let's create another one. Let's create another one that is like an orangey yellowish around here. Yeah, around there. That's where the oranges are, right? Well, more like yellowish. Yellow, yellow, and HSV. Just in case I want to change it later, keep it global. Oh my God, there you go. And last but not least, let's do a light blue, like a teal, you know? So usually they are like around here, these colors. And around there, I'm liking that. Let's create a new one over here on our folder. Let's call it bluish. Blue, I don't know. I'm not very good with naming conventions on colors. To be honest, I'm colorblind too, so I'm not the best at that. The cool thing now they're global. You can come back here and then change them however you want, and then it will change everywhere in your document wherever you're using them. That's one of the cool things about using global colors. So okay, I have my color palette. I think that's a nice color palette. Maybe. By the way, these by default they're not global, so I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to turn it global, and I'm going to put it a little bit more saturated, around there. And cool. Let's turn this global too, a little more saturated. My default, it's a nice default, but I like my colors a little more saturated. More saturated here, and then this dark one also global, a little more saturated. And see, this is all this is a very scientific process, as you can see. I'm just like and this one a little bit lighter. There you go. Now you have a nice range of colors that we can use in our characters. And now let's go back to our elements here. So let's start with the face. Let's start with the head. And for that, we start with a rectangle. A rectangle, well, just like that. And I think we want to put the shape of the head just like a little bit around here and a little bit around over here. So you can just use these handles and just like do it really easily. Let me zoom in so we can see what the hell is going on. Let me jump in here. So here, and you can just like use this. But I usually I press A to select nodes, and then now that I have those nodes selected, I will change the corner radius of this one a little bit more, and that way it creates that nice shape of the head here. And I like to keep it a little bit flat on the top. There you go. Let's do even more. Yeah, it's all the way. That's as far as we can go. There you go. Now we have the shape of our head. We can make the shape of our neck around there. And I want the shape of the neck on the bottom to do it completely round, and that way it's gonna also serve to be the neck on top of the clothing. So let's center it. I select them, and then I select another one, and that way it's going to center to this element. There you go. So let's apply our color. Let's use this color. Let's remove the outline. No outline, my friend, and then just like do it right there. Now this color, I think it could be a little bit darker. On the fill, just because it's so it has a shadow. So I'm going to use the second shade, and that way it's going to create like an effect, like it's a little bit the face is a little bit closer to you. So there you go. You can customize these colors. Maybe you have a better idea of like how these colors should look. So okay, so we have that. Now let's do the same with our ears. Bum 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 bum. Let's do it like this. And one thing also that we're gonna notice is that we want to make the face not facing totally front, but we want to make it a little bit like turning to the side. Okay, so to do that, well, let's finish it and then we're gonna do that. But let's just know that we're gonna do that later. Let's change this. Press I, and then it changes to the color of this little fella. There you go. Just press I, and it's like an eyedropper, and it copies all the styles inside that. So now we have that. Now let's start creating the face, the expression on the face. Yo, what the hell? What did I do? Did I? Yeah, there you go. So let's change this to black. By the way, let's change our black color. Make it like a little bit brighter and a little bit saturated, and then it's going to be in the darker hues. And sorry, in like the bluish hues. There you go. Let's see it a little bit lighter. Yeah, it's in the blues, but it's going to be dark. And it's a little bit saturated. And there you go. Now it's not exactly totally black. It's like a bluish, dark black. So okay, so we have the eyes. They're potentially a little bit too big, but we can change it in a little bit. And now I'm going to use the vector tool, the pen, to start drawing what is the nose. So as you can see, I put 3 points. One for this part, and then the second point is going to be for this part below. Okay, so now that I have those nodes, I can press Shift C and just like drag this. Not exactly what I was looking for. Let's change it so it's an outline and not a fill. You saw that? I did it over here. There you go. Like around there. It's a nice nose. And now let's do the same with the, what do you call it? The eyebrows. So the eyebrows, I can just use the pen tool, press P, and the same, 2 nodes, and then press Shift C to just like drag them a little bit. And then there you go. Oh man, I cannot see the color. I'm having a hard time. So actually, let me change that because I, how do I change that? Oh man, I forgot how to change that. There's a way to change the color on this. Okay, it's okay. It's just that I'm colorblind, and some colors I confuse. It's hard for me to see some colors, but I don't know how to change it anymore. I am dumb. Dumb. I tried double clicking and that was not working. I did not like that. So okay, let's duplicate this. And now we can actually use this same path for the mouth. Look at that. But let's flip it. And for that, you have to go to this panel. I feel like it's so hidden. You have to go here to transform, and then hidden here, there's a flip vertical option. How hidden is that option? It's so weird that it's just there. And I know there's another effect to do that, but again, why is it an effect? Just like give me the options here and transform. I don't know if I'm liking this. There you go. I think that looks more natural. Let's do the same over here and duplicate it, and then let's do the same again where we flip it. Flip it good. Flip horizontal. There you go. Okay, cool. So we have most of the elements. Let's start adjusting them. And remember, I was telling you that we want the character to be looking a little bit to the right, to the side. Let's move the elements so everything is looking a little bit to the side. So I'm going to select everything, and then I just like move them around here. And also, once you start moving, then the perspective changes. So this shouldn't be center. This actually should be a little bit closer to this side. And then this one, then this should be closer to like this, right? And then the mouth actually shouldn't be center either. It should be a little bit like around there. And you know what? I feel like the eyes are a little bit too big. What do you think? Am I crazy? Let's see how it looks like this. Yeah, I think they're looking good. Okay, so now I'm going to change the color of this. too, so it is behind and it creates a little bit of depth. And just as before, now the ear should be a little bit hidden, you know? It should be around here because again, it's turned. And this one it looks good at there. But just the other ear should be a little bit more hidden, so it creates that effect where the person is turning their head. Now, all of these lines, I think I'm going to change the style of them, and I'm going to make them a little bit thicker. So just select them, turn them to 2 pixels. I go to the stroke options, and I just change them so they are rounded, and now they're a little bit softer. So let's zoom in, and now we see that this is how they were before, or pretty sharp. It doesn't look bad. I just like my outlines a little bit softer, but you can make that decision for yourself. That's your style, your thing. You do your thing, okay? Okay, so let's do the same with the ear, and for that, I'm going to just use the pen tool, press P, just like that. It already knows the style, so it just like is keeping it. And look at that. Now we have an ear. We have the ears. Now let's start drawing the hair. And for the hair, I'm going to actually try using the pen tool. So the brush tool. And for the brush tool, you just press B, and now you are in the brush tool. And I'm going to, I don't know, like just so it's a little bit easier, and just like, what do you think? Just around there, and then maybe just like that. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have trouble with this. There you go. So it looks like crap right now, but it's gonna look better. Don't worry. So let's change the fill of this. How should we do this? Well, we can select the whole thing and then expand it. We can expand it, expand the appearance. Now that it's expanded, we can weld the whole thing. Now that it's weld or merge, I don't know how you say weld. That sounded weird. Maybe it's not. Does that word even exist? I'm getting in here, and actually, I'm going to remove all the insides. And I'm realizing that I made a mistake here. I'm going to press Shift B, which is the brush tool, just to fill the gap here. And now I can remove this element. Bow. This element also goodbye. There you go. Let's do the same over here on the bottom. It's part of the same group, but it's not separated. But it's separated a little bit. So let's, you know what? Actually, this should be a different shape. So I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to paste it because it should be its own layer. Now that it's its own layer, I'm going to just, ooh, that's a big brush. Damn, that's a big brush. Okay. It doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden. So okay, so now that it's like that shape, I can get in here, remove this, and then put it all the way to the back. Come on, look at that! It's starting to look good, huh? So we have our face. It's almost there. I think I'm liking it. I'm liking the result. I'm sure that you can do something better than me. But for now, this is good. Just for this lesson, it's okay. We can move on to the next thing. We have our head. I don't need this anymore. And now we can start doing the rest of the body. So the body, we're going to do the torso. And the torso and, I don't know what you call this part, like the crotch. The crotch and the torso. That's going to be one single component. So for that, we can actually use this as a base and just like use simple shapes. Simple shapes, rectangles. I love just using a rectangle. With this is going to allow me to just like get in there, put it all the way to the bottom so I can just like see how it's gonna look. It's going to, it's starting to look square. Maybe it's a square. Maybe you like it that way. I don't know. It's a postmodern look on your shape. I'm going to just like make it a little bit rounder here. I'm going to make it super round here on the bottom. Is this what I want? Yeah, I think so. Let's do it like this. Let's try it like pretty round here. The body is like this. Now let's give it a color. Let's use the red. What do you think? Let's use the red. This person has a red shirt. Let's call this person Alex. Do you like the name Alex? Yeah, Alex is a happy person who wears their red shirt. The red and this are pretty common, pretty similar, but it's okay. So we have that. Now let's do the crotch, as I was telling you. So that's the torso. Now let's do the crotch. And the crotch, we want to draw another rectangle. Actually, we can just Command C, Command Shift V, and that way it just like pastes that thing. And now we want to actually change. Let's double click in there, and let's change this to be. Let's change the corner radius of this to be 0. That way now it is just pants. There you go. We move them around here. Now we can change the color of this. Let's use that dark blue. What do you think? Now it's going to have dark blue pants. So, okay, that's the body. We can add a belt too if we want to. What about that? That's going to create a nice touch there. Another rectangle. It's all simple shapes. See that? It's all simple shapes. It's all about the simple shapes. Okay, cool. Looks like a superhero. Let's use black. What do you think? Yeah, let's use that. Okay, cool. So that's our body. Now let's do the legs. And for the legs, again, simple shapes. Let's just use a rectangle tool to create a long leg, just around there. Yeah, that's good. That's a leg. Now I'm going to move it. I don't want to be distracted by that thing. Let me close this, by the way. You want to save changes? Yeah, just so it's not there. So I want to change the corner radius of the top, just so whenever I put it here, it blends well. Okay, and then here on the bottom, I'm not gonna do anything. And now let's just start drawing the leg. Let's actually make the pants a little bit wider and bigger. Yes, big pants. This person has really big pants, so they're gonna be looking like this. Maybe the proportions are not great. I like it. Yeah. Let's change the color of this. Just so this color needs to like meet this color, be the same color, because it's the pants, right? Unless they're weird pants. I don't know. You can play around with that. Let's add another rectangle here. This is going to be the leg. And the leg, well, needs to be the same color as the skin, which I think was this one, right? If I'm correct, let's press I. Oh no, actually it was a tone lighter. There you go. So we have our leg. We can center these two. Boom, boom, boom. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Now we're going to make the shoe. It's another rectangle. And for the shoe, we want to add one more node here. I'm going to add one more node here. That's going to be the base of the shoe. I'm going to move this guy over here. And now we can change the color of this. Let's, what do you think? These, yeah, blue, really cool blue shoes. I like them. Now let's also create another rectangle here that is going to be the socks. Let's just make sure that everything is in place. Sometimes I wish it snapped a little bit better. There you go. It's just not. It's not snapping. Come on, dude, snap. Why are you not snapping? Oh man. Oh well, I can just like make them go to the left. There you go. Now they're in snap. And then this guy, 1 to snap. There you go. Okay, cool. So let's just move it there. There you go. Now we have socks on this fella, this person. Let's make it the shoes a little bit shorter. And we can add a curve here. What do you think about that? Just press Shift C. And now you bring this tool. Look at that. That's cool, right? You can add some branding too if you want to, maybe a circle, and then it's gonna be I don't know, like Converse or something. I don't know, some cool shoes that this person has. There you go. We have our leg. That's the leg. Now the leg could be, you could move this, and instead of being center, you can move it like there. depending on the effect that you want, or like there. I'm going to keep it center, but that's something for you to know that you can do. And just like if you want the pants to be a little bit so they're always like in the air, and then they look like they're behind because they're trailing behind because of the air. You can do that, but for now I'm just going to keep it there. It's a little bit more static. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, cool. So I have my leg. Let's go ahead and do the arm. And for the arm, it's gonna be the I don't know, whatever this person is wearing, a t-shirt. Yeah, let's make a t-shirt. And for the t-shirt, it's going to be like a red t-shirt. So let's just start again. Simple shapes, rectangle, just like that. And with the rectangle selected, let's use that red color, but all the way here. And let's change the corner radius of this. Now let's make another rectangle that is going to be our arm, and let's change it to the color of the skin. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Now, actually, you know what? I'm realizing that the red is not contrasting very well with the skin. I'm going to make the red a little bit darker, just so it contrasts a little bit more. Let's preview it. Yeah, I think that's gonna, it's not contrasting at all over here. Let's make it even more darker. Yeah, like a deep red. There you go. I like it. So let's center these fellas. And now the hand, I'm not great with hands, and maybe, but I think the hand, it can be just like this. And what is this? It's just like rectangles with rounded corners that it just plays like this. Okay, so for that, we just need a ton of rectangles. That's all we need. And just like change the corner radius of them to be like this. Bow. And then like this. Move them around. And then just snap them. Just like that. Let's make this fella. What do you call this one? In Spanish, we call it the fat finger, el dedo gordo. So I have a hard time because in English to call some stuff, because like, hold on, in Spanish it's called the fat finger. It makes sense, right? It's the fat finger. So let's put the fat finger over here, and let's make this set that it all the way to the left. So this one all the way to the right, so it aligns. And now let's change the spacing between them. I don't know if I like that. Let's make them a little bit wider. There you go. Now that they are a little bit wider, I can just align it to this. Let's align it to this. Align to the right. Now that it's aligned, I can just like change the spacing between them and just distribute them, so it's like that. There you go. And you can put some details if you want to. For example, if you want to just like delimit the spacing of between the fingers, and just want to add, it's not working. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's just using that same color. That's why. If you want to, you can just like for example, add some details like this. If you wanted to, I'm not going to. I don't know. I'm going to keep it simple for now. So there you go. Now we have our arm, and that's it. We have the different elements that we need. We can start creating our system. Okay, are you ready for that? So hold on. Let me make sure that the proportions are right. The proportions, I don't think they're right. No, this body should be a little bit smaller. No. The body should be like this. No. Yeah. The proportions are right now. Yeah. This is looking good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to group these parts. This is the leg, the body, and the face. Let's group it. So we have all of our elements here. Let's align them just so they're looking nice. And the spacing between them. Look at that. We have our first system. You know, it took some time to do this, but it's worth it. Of course it's worth it, because now we can reuse these elements around, and we can just like with the brushes. So let's do that, okay? Now, this was the hard part. Now comes the fun. part. So let's create our first brush. Let's do the leg. Okay, so I select the layers, then I go to the brushes, and actually let me go to the brushes and delete the ones, the default ones. I don't like it. Go away. I don't like you. I don't know. Sometimes my default ones are, maybe I set those up. I don't know. I need to change them. Okay, cool. So now there's there. Here in the overflow menu, you can just go and once those things are selected and select new brush. This is the brushes panel, by the way. Here in the new brush, you can go ahead and click art brush. By the way, all of these other brushes are pretty cool, but we want the art brush one. And now here you can give your brush a name. I'm going to call it Alex. Remember, this person is called Alex. Alex Leg. Alex Leg. And then here you have some options. First of all, you can change how it behaves when you're drawing, if it is fixed or if you want to be pressure sensitive or with the tilting. I'm going to keep it fixed, but if you want to play around with the stuff, with if you have a tablet that actually selects pressure sensitive, that is pressure sensitive, you might want to try that out. So, okay, so now you have three options here. And one of the options is scale proportionally, stretch to fit, and let me just zoom in here. So scale proportional, stretch to fit. For this one, we want to do the stretch between guides. Oh, sorry. Realizing that I was. So stretch to fit stroke length. It just stretches. You know, it just stretches the whole thing. Sometimes that works. And scale proportionally actually changes not just the width, but the whole thing. It's just like because it scales proportionally, of course. But what we want is this one that is called a stretch between guides. Why? Because then you can keep the edges to be the same proportions. So you see these guides here. Now with these guides, I can change where does it start stretching. And I'm going to move it. So now the feet are always going to look the same size. And what is going to stretch is this part. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same here on the top, just so the round corner always remains the same. And then what stretches is this part. How cool is that? And also, by default, it detected the direction going from up, down. So that's good. But if I wanted to, sometimes you can change it. You need to change it, and you can do it here. And then there are other options here in the coloration and all that stuff. We're going to ignore those for now. Later, we're going to actually use the options for flipping, and which is pretty cool. Okay. Now I created a brush, and if I want to, I can just start drawing. Look at that. This same component, I can just start drawing with it and create shapes. Well, it gets a little bit weird. But there you go. Now we have our brush for the leg. Now let's do the same with our arm. Same principle with the arm. Oops, sorry, this is not the brushes panel. Brushes panel, create new brush. We want it to be an art brush. Now that it's an art brush, I'm going to call it Alex Arm. How cool that we gave this person a name, Alex. And now we want to stretch between the guides. And I'm going to, the guide on the top, I'm going to put it that it's just the sleeve of the t-shirt around there. I know that there's potentially a quicker way to do this. And then this one should be negative, so the hand doesn't stretch, just around there. There you go. And now the only part that is going to stretch is this part. How cool is that? The direction is okay. Boom, we have our arm. Now let's do the same with the body. Oh man, I keep clicking on the wrong menu. New brush, art brush. Okay, now let's call it Alex Body. Alex Body. By the way, you can change these later. So if you don't want to worry too much about the names, you can change those names later. Okay, so Alex Body. This one is also a stretch between the guides. Just so... hold on. Oh, you see this? The default here was going from left to right. That's not what we wanted. So let's change the direction on this one. Sometimes the default doesn't do what we want. So on this one, all I'm going to not stretch is this part, but the rest I'm going to keep it stretchy. I actually going to keep this part to stretch too. I'm realizing that maybe I need a little better system to actually do this because if I don't stretch it, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, so everything's looking good. Let's okay that. And now the last one, which is the head. The head is going to be a little bit different. So, well, same process here, art brush, but the scaling of it, I prefer scaling proportionally because that way it's not because that way I have more flexibility on adjusting the size of the head to the proportions of the body. So I prefer that kind of scale. It's already doing the right direction. I'm going to call it Alex head. And I'm going to call it Alex head 1 because we're going to do another one later. So, okay, Alex head 1. And now we have all of our brushes. And now we can start drawing. How cool is that? And let's actually, I'm going to keep the brushes panel open just so it's easier for me to just like start drawing. So I'm going to, by the way, you can change how these look here. They can be, instead of thumbnail view, they can be just a list view if that's easier for you here. But I like this. I'm going to select the body one. I'm going to start with the body. There you go. And now I'm going to deselect and then now select the legs. And I'm going to start drawing. Whoa. Was that the leg? No, that was the... Let's do it again. There you go. Not perfect. Sometimes you have to start like from the middle. There you go. Okay, cool. So now, and the cool thing is that you can just change the proportions of it. You didn't like how you drew it? You can get in there and change the vectors of it. That's starting to look good. Oh man. So we can just start adjusting it. Now let's use the brush tool and select the arm. Now that the arm is selected, we can start drawing our arms. Let's zoom out and just like that. Let's like saying hi. Hi. And let's deselect and let's use the one for the head. Once it is selected, then you can start drawing. And see, all of these, when you stretch them, for example, it doesn't really stretch. The only thing that stretches is the length, but the hand doesn't really stretch. It doesn't change the proportions of it, which is pretty cool. You want your arm to have the freedom to move it as much as you want without affecting the proportions of it. But the head is different. As you can see here, if I make the line bigger, then the head becomes bigger too. So that gives me that freedom to adjust the proportions of this character here. Sometimes you just need that freedom. Okay, cool. So now let's adjust our elements so they look a little bit more fitting. There you go. There you go. It's actually not too bad, like how we drew it the first time. It's starting to look good. Look at that. It's saying hi. Alex is just happy to see us, and it's saying hi. But yeah, the cool thing is that you can just like even duplicate this and just change the direction of it if you want to. For example, let's do one that is like looking to the side. And then I have this, and then I can select one like that. Oops. There you go, something like this. And let's select the arm, and let's say that this person is reaching down for something. There you go. And I can just stretch this a little bit more. Ooh, I don't want these notes. These notes are not necessary. There you go. I can just transform it. This Alex is reaching for something down here. Let me zoom out a little bit more. And let's select the leg. And the leg is telling me that the legs are crossed. Not perfect. It's okay. Now you can change the how this should be behind. Maybe this should be a little bit bigger around here. Also behind the arms. Maybe the arm would just put it all the way to the top. And this person, Alex, is looks like he's reaching out to someone. Maybe they are about to help someone, someone that is down there. They need to be picked up. Maybe it's a pet. Maybe it's a person that is just like that is down there saying like, "Hey, Alex, would you help me get up there? And Alex was like, yes, of course, my friend. Let's get up here. Okay, cool. Look at that. Look how easy it was to create these two illustrations like nothing. Like nothing. Super quick. The cool thing is that you can swap these elements too. And let's do that. Let's actually create another head. Remember I told you that we were going to do that. I can just duplicate this guy, these elements, and I'm going to change the expression of these. I'm going to get in there, I'm going to remove the eyes, and I'm going to, now that I have that brush selected, ooh, there you go. That's one of the problems. Once you have used these brushes, then they will want to be used, and you cannot change them. So, but hold on. Let me do this. Let me transform it. Let's make this person with the closed eyes, like kind of like thinking to themselves. Let's do that. Okay, so I can just transform this. Bow, flip vertical. And let's rotate it a little bit. There you go. And then let's do the opposite over here. Let's flip horizontal. Oh, it's already good. It was already okay. Oh, it's sad. No. Let's not make them sad. Let's make Alex a little bit happy. Yeah, Alex is a happy person. It's just like thinking about something nice. Don't you like it when a good thought just steals your mind? It steals your brain, but it's a good steal. It's just like making you remember something nice. So this Alex right here is remember something nice. So I'm going to select this, do the same as before. Oops, sorry, I closed the brushes panel. So I'm going to look it up. Brushes. There you go. So now I'm going to create a new brush by selecting these. New brush, art brush. Oops, sorry. And Alex head 2, a scale proportionally. The direction is looking good. Boom. Now I can go back here to the characters that I already created and change the brush if I want to. So I can just select this element, go to, oh my God, I did it again. Brushes. I'm going to just leave it here so I don't lose it. Just go to your brushes and then you just change it to the different head. Look at that. You want to go back, you can just like keep clicking until you're like, yeah. Imagine that. Now you can create a system where you change these elements, different expressions, different components, different clothing, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Let's see in the comments if you have any questions. Oops. Pepu, the hair can be a little long in front. I will make one and share for your feedback. Great stuff. Yeah, that will be awesome, Pepu. Yeah, we'd love to see it. Okay, cool. So, okay, cool. So I think let's continue and just like watch what we did. So again, what we did was create different brushes, create our elements here. Oh, let me just move it around here. Sorry, live stream. That's what happens. We created our elements, which look like body parts. It's kind of, and then we use those elements, we turn them into brushes, and that way we were able to just use those brushes and actually use them. As you can see, they're just strokes, but since we're using a brush that has that shape, then we can just like give it a form. Look at that. How cool is that? The proportions here are not that great. You can do better, I'm sure. Yeah, maybe these legs should be a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't know. But the cool thing is that you can fix it around and then get it to look perfect. So let's go back to just me. Uh, so that's it. That's today's lesson. Hopefully that was useful. Using art brushes to create characters and create like a system that you can reuse. The cool thing is that it. Something I didn't tell you. Hold on. Let me go back and tell you about this. So let's say that you want to further customize this, change the colors and all that stuff, but you don't want to do it with brushes anymore. You can just like go to the object, select it, and then expand the appearance. Now that the appearance is expanded, now you can actually change whatever you want. All of these are still vectors. So for example, this one could be a little bit darker, for example. Let's say that the fill is I don't know, darker because it's behind, and now it creates a little bit of depth. There you go. Maybe this one is also a little bit darker. So, oops, sorry. Let's change all of these to be a little bit darker, just so it creates, again, it creates a little bit of depth. And if you, there you go. Now it has a little bit more of depth. How cool is that, right? So that's a cool thing. Maybe you can start with the brushes. Super simple. Once you're like, I like it here, but I need to fine tune it, then you can just expand it and fine tune it. Okay. So that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me and sketching together. This has been a pleasure. A real pleasure to be here with you. The times, I don't know, the news, you see the news, you see what's going on in the world, and it's kind of weird, right? And it's kind of not very optimistic. But things are going to be fine, okay? And we're going to we're going to make the best out of this time. And if I have one recommendation for you, other than practicing your skills in drawing, is telling your loved ones that you love them, and that I don't know, that's a homework for you. Okay, so whoever it is, just it's not because the coronavirus, because it's nice, right? Because it's nice to do it. So that's my homework for you. Like think about the people that you love, how they are special to you, and just like say hi to them and maybe tell them why they're special to you. Thank you so much for joining. This has been a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.